everybody, and welcome to the United Stand road trip from Bucharest outside the National Arena. What a backdrop, what a stadium Manchester United are playing at tonight in the Europa League. And the aim is do not lose. Obviously the aim is to always win, but do not lose. There is only 2 points distance in between where Manchester United are and dropping out of the top 8. And the last thing that Ruben Amorim wants to do is play 2 more qualifying games. We don't want to do a City, what they've done in the Champions League, and have to play the qualifiers. We want to just get through. Ruben Amorim was adamant about needing more training time and less games. This is really important that we win tonight. And people think, FCSB, second in the Romanian league. Are they just going to be a pushover? Are they just going to be a walkover? Well, Rangers, who Manchester United have just beat, did beat them 4-0. And they're without their talisman and their captain. So the advantage does seem to be in Manchester United's favour. We have done very well in the Europa League this season. That is where we are actually getting results. Performances have been a little bit iffy. Remember in Czech Republic in Pilsen, that performance wasn't great, but you got the result over the line, and that's the most important thing. I've said time and time again, I think Ruben Amorim needs to go full Jose Mourinho, put all of his eggs in the Europa League basket. We're not going to get relegated in the Premier League. You'd like to think so. Fingers crossed. We're probably just going to get a bottom half finish. It's going to be embarrassing in the Premier League. You look back on this in years to come and think, oh, do you remember when we got bottom half of the table when Ruben Amorim first came in, and now we're winning Premier Leagues? That's what we hope's going to happen. But I doubt we're going to get European football through the Premier League. If we did, it's probably going to be conference. I just doubt we're going to even do that, to be honest with you. Europa League could get it through winning the FA Cup, but you've got teams still in that competition like Liverpool, like Manchester City. I know that we can beat them on our day, and we've actually done better against the bigger teams. But if you actually put it on paper, Champions League football is the most important, and the only route to Champions League football is through the Europa League, and we've got to win it. There is some teams in there where you think Manchester United come up against them, that's going to be a tough game. There is some decent teams in there, but the only team that you look at and you think, you know what, yeah, they could give us a go on their day would be Tottenham. They're still in there, but they're having a really poor season. And, Galatasaray, they've got players, Osimhen, they've got players that can hurt you. But realistically, you're looking at the competitors in that Europa League, and Manchester United's name should be written on that title, and we should be lifting that come May. Ruben Amorim, a trophy in his first season would be fantastic, and getting into Champions League football would do absolute wonders for his budget in the summer transfer window. Just want to bring you in some little stats. Can't reel them off the top of my head, but got them written down here going into this game, because you always want to know a little bit about the opposition and where Manchester United are at in terms of the Europa League. So we have won 4 Europa League games now in a row. PAOK, Bodo Glimt, Victoria Pilsen, and another victory would match the record run of 5 set during the 22-23 group stage. So Manchester United, although they're not thriving in the Premier League, they are thriving in Europe, and this is a competition we have been successful in so far this season. We love a cup competition, don't we? And also, if you look at FCSB, a little bit of an opposition watch, they have lost their last 7 games against English sides by an aggregate score of 20-2. So their last 7 games against English sides, 20-2 the scoreline has been, and they've lost the last 7. Manchester United have got to win here tonight, surely. We have won 5 of our 6 meetings with Romanian sides in all competitions, and Bruno Fernandes is now become the second only player to score 10 plus Europa League goals, score 10 plus Europa League goals for Manchester United when he netted the winner against Rangers in our last Europa League game to get the winner for Manchester United. The reason why Bruno Fernandes is the second only player is because Manchester United under Sir Alex and in the glory days are used to playing in Champions League football, not Europa League football. Europa League has become Manchester United's bread and butter, hasn't it, over the last decade, and that shouldn't be the case. We should be always aiming to be in the Champions League. Again, got to reiterate how important it is to win this game, because you give yourself any chance of not being in the going through to the next round, and you're in them qualifiers, any chance to go out of this competition, and it really could damage our hopes of Champions League football for the next few years. It's super, super important. So a win here today, don't lose, but a win here today is important. What team would I go for? Like I said, it has to be the strongest 11. This is the team that I would go for here in Bucharest. So I would go with Bayındır in goal, He started the last Europa League game. He's taken the cup competitions away from Andre Onana. Andre Onana used to start every game under Ten Hag. Ruben Amorim's rotating the goalkeepers, and Bayern I think's proved himself. He's more than capable. He goes in goal. My back three would be Mazraoui, right-sided centre-back, but I don't think Ruben Amorim will play him there. I would go Maguire centrally, and I would go Martinez on the left side. Just a little bit of rotation there, but I really, really like Mazraoui on the right of that centre-back three. I think his best attributes suits the right-sided centre-back role, or the left-sided centre-back role, but predominantly the right-sided centre-back role in this Ruben Amorim system. I've said it time and time and time again. I don't think he's got enough attacking output to be a wing-back eventually in this system. I think he carries the ball out into the midfield super well in a back three. His best performances have come in a back three under Ruben Amorim. I would like to see him shift back there. I don't think that will happen, but let's see. I think that's where I'd put him. Maguire and De Ligt's a toss-up for that central centre-back role, and then Martinez I think has to play on the left side because he's our only left footer and he suits the attributes of a player that Ruben Amorim needs on that left side. Although everyone talking about Luke Shaw being back in training, obviously he's not available for this game, not travelled, and he won't probably be available for a few weeks at least. Everyone keeps saying, oh, he's back now, we've got a left back in Dorgu. You know, he's going to go on a mad fitness run. I think Luke Shaw's competing with Lisandro Martinez. I think with this stage in his career, with all of the injury problems he's had, I think the left wing-back spot is too heavy on his body. I think his body won't be able to take that. I think his only chance of staying fit is playing at left-sided centre-back, and we know how good he can be there. I think he'd be a fantastic left wing-back if he was fully fit, but his body just, he can't handle anything. So I think he's going to be the one that's competing with Lisandro Martinez for that left-sided centre-back spot. Lisandro Martinez has had many peaks and troughs so far this season. He's not been at his A game defensively, but he has been contributing in the attacking side of things, and Ruben Amorim clearly really likes him. He always talks him up. He's important in pushing forward, driving that ball into our midfield. He will start tonight. I'm pretty sure he's one of the first names on the team sheet for Ruben Amorim. Lenny Yoro was in the press conference. He could maybe start right-sided centre-back, but like I said, Mazraoui's been my favourite player there so far for Manchester United, I think, in that spot. I really do like him there. He can play a centre-back there as well, but that's where I fit Mazraoui into the team, and that's where I think he thrives, covering that flank. My wing-backs would be Ahmad on the right and Dalot on the left. Soon come Patrick Dorgu. I think this would be a fantastic game for him to play in, to settle him in. Unfortunately, not officially announced by Manchester United yet, so definitely won't be available for this game, but while that's happening, you've got to go with Dalot. Could go with Malacia, left-footed option, but he's not the future, and we know Ruben Amorim doesn't like to play players that aren't the future. He is going to leave Manchester United at some point or another. It was said he was going to leave in the January window, but unless something happens between now and Monday, there's literally been barely any talks around Malacia, but Fabrizio Romano did say he was free to go, so I think we're just waiting for Malacia to leave. So do you risk injury? I doubt it. I think Dalot will play their strongest team. I think even though Dalot is poor at left wing back, he still edges Malacia there just because. Edges Malacia there, careful Beth. I think just because we're getting forward, he offers more. You know, he's got the step overs, he can beat a man. We've seen what he did to Trent Alexander-Arnold. He can get balls into the box. Sometimes they're not great, but Dalot's got a bit more to offer, so I'd go with him. My two midfielders in the middle of the park. Does Ruben Amorim go back to Collier in the Europa League game like he did against Rangers and he was super successful, or does he go with Ugarte and Bruno? I think you could do either. I think the strongest team at this moment in time would be going with Ugarte and Bruno in there, but now I'm trying to think who would be my number 10s because we don't have many options, to be honest with you. Okay, yeah, I would go with, is my midfield pairing, I would either go with, no, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with Bruno and Ugarte, or you could go with Bruno and Collier. I think Collier is more than capable of playing this game. I like Bruno deeper. I've said it so many times. I like Bruno deeper, and I think that's the role under Ruben Amorim where he's had a lot of success playing in that deeper role. He can always push forward towards the later stages of the game if you are needing that goal, but that's where I would play Bruno. In my 2 10s, I would have Alejandro Garnacho, and I would also have Kobbie Mainoo. People have told me time and time again, Kobbie Mainoo hasn't got the legs to play 10. You know, he's not got the mobility to play 10. He came on in our last game, played in that left pocket of the 10 role, and we scored within about 5 minutes, him and Ahmad with that link-up play. And I think it was onside, honestly. I think they just, didn't really spend that much time drawing the lines. It was super close. In my opinion, it was basically, it should have been a goal. But then again, would our Coventry have goal stood if you always give that advantage to the attackers? And that's how we won the FA Cup at the end of last year. But what I'm trying to get at is I think Kobbie Mainoo in the 10, he has the attributes to suit it there, and I want to see him in the 10, and why not do it in this game? I think you can afford to trial it in this game. I really do. Kobbie Mainoo, his link-up play is top tier. His technical ability on the ball is top tier. He sees them short little passes. He's so good at keeping possession in and around the box. He's so good at floating away from players with the football. The ball glues to his feet. Play him there. Play him there. I would love to see him play in that 10 role. And I feel like the pace of Alejandro Garnacho next to him, it gives you that pace as well in behind the striker. Striker, toss-up really between Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee, but I would go Joshua Zirkzee just because Rasmus had a bit of a stinker in his last game, didn't he? Offered virtually nothing. At least with Zirkzee, he offers the link-up play. Rasmus, I think, lost the ball 10 times within the first half in the last game. He got hooked, around the 55th minute, something like that. So I would go, although what I would say is Højlund's best record has come in Europe, and he has got most of his goals in the European competition this season in the Europa League, so maybe you could go with him if you're looking at it in a stats way. But I think I would give the nod to Joshua Zirkzee, just because even though both of them aren't really scoring the way that you would want your number 9 to score, and they are lacking service, Joshua Zirkzee gives you that link-up play, gets you up the pitch, the ball sticks to him, you can move the ball up the pitch and get it into the final third, which I think is super important. Get in the comments down below what your starting lineup would be, any changes you would make there. I do think he will go with a back three of... I think Ruben Amorim's back three will be Martinez, De Ligt and Yoro. I think he'll give Maguire a bit of a rest in this game, which I wouldn't be against, to be honest with you. But let me know if any changes that he might make. He might play Eriksson instead of Kobbie Mainoo in that 10 role. He might push Bruno up into the 10 role. Ruben Amorim, there's little different things he could change in that 11, but just off the top of my head, that is the 11 that I would like to see. Christian Eriksen might get a run around, to be honest with you. He did really well in the last Europa League game, and maybe he could perform in a game like this with his technical ability and his intelligence in the final third, when I do think this team might be, hard to break down. Let's see what happens. But this is the United stand in Bucharest. This is your preview. This is your road trip. My score prediction is 2-0 to Manchester United. I think we'll just get it over the line. I don't see FCSB scoring. I doubt it. They are without their captain and their talisman. I think United struggle to score goals, but I think we'll get 2 over the line here in Bucharest. That's my score prediction. Let me know yours in the comments down below. I'm going with Bruno Fernandes goal again and a Ahmad goal. That's what I'm going with. Let me know in your comments. Maybe Alejandro Garnacho. He might score tonight. I've got a feeling. He's due a goal. Should have had one in the Rangers game, absolutely. But thank you everyone for watching. Hit a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Get your score predictions in. It's a late kickoff for us. 10 p.m. here in Bucharest. 8 p.m. at home. Come on, Manchester United. Europa League. I predicted it at the start. We need to win this competition. Let's have it.